Hello everyone, this is going to be a little bit of a different video. I'm over at my parents' house here with Mama, who's been doing a puzzle and painting lots of projects that I have for her to do. But I have a project of my own because it's potato day. So my parents have already dug up quite a few potatoes, which I will show you here in a minute. But I thought it'd be fun to come over and show you guys how they do it and how many they got, and also for my dad to tell some stories about how he grew up in North Georgia and the kind of garden that he put in and helped his granny with when he was a kid. So that's what we're gonna do. We'll head out to the garden where Dad can share some stories, and I will show you the potatoes that we're gonna dig up and just some of the ways that my parents have kind of put their garden to bed for the fall and winter. Mama here is gonna stay inside and keep putting her puzzle together. So let me go ahead and take you to the back porch room where I'll show you what they've dug up already. And here we are, all the potatoes that they've already dug up. Isn't that amazing? They had a bumper crop this year. There's red and white ones. Those are going to be so good. And just when you thought that was enough, they've got another a small batch over here. And we still have a whole row to dig up. So there's going to be even more on this table. And you can see she's also been pulling up the last of the summer tomatoes. So we've got some Black Beauties, she's got some pineapples and Mr. Stripeys and Romas and just all kinds of tomatoes in here. She's been canning like crazy. She did some plain tomatoes for soups and chilies and that kind of thing. We've got some homemade rotel. That's going to be really good. She also made some tomato soup. So that's going to be really good in the winter. I can't wait to try that. She also went ahead and picked the last of the green beans, and she's canned those. Look how beautiful that is. And they picked their corn, and look how gorgeous that relish is. That's going to be really good with beans and cornbread. Okay, we just wanted to show you really quick. See that little robin that's up in the tree? I know it's kind of shaky. I've got my phone really zoomed in, so it's kind of hard to keep it steady. But that little bird has been set free just today by my parents, who found it as a little baby. Didn't have its parents, so obviously something happened to Mom and Dad, and it had been kicked out of its nest and its little nest destroyed. And so they raised it from a little baby and finally was able to set it free today. So you can kind of see she's really enjoying her freedom, looking around, and she'll probably stick around for a few days, and then who knows, she's got the whole world to fly to. Now we're out here with Dad's beehives, and I didn't know it, but beekeeping actually runs in the family. Dad, what was you telling me earlier?
My grandmother Parker kept bees for years, all through the 30s, 40s, and 50s. She kept bees. And this is something, if you want to really increase your vegetable and fruit production, this right here is what you need. Plus, you end up with a lot of good honey.
Yeah. Now, Granny or Grandma Parker, that was Granny's mother, right? So that would have been what to you? Your great-grandmother, right?
Great-grandmother,
okay,
yes.
So great-grandmother Parker kept all these bees for decades. That's actually pretty cool. So did she ever sell the honey, or did you guys just keep it?
Yeah, she sold some of the honey, but we used a lot of it too. Bees are a real giving thing. They increase the vegetable and fruit production, and then you get the honey on top of that. It's just a give.
Now, would you sell, or would she sell it to a store, or did she, neighbors and stuff?
No, just neighbors and word of mouth.
You don't remember how much she sold it for?
No, I can't remember. Back then, it wouldn't have been much, though.
I started to say it probably would have been pittance compared to what honey sells for today.
Maybe 50 cents or $1 a quart. I'm not sure, but it wouldn't have been much back then.
I mean, did she just get too old to keep them anymore?
Yeah. Well, this this top box here is super full of honey.
Yeah.
When it's completely full, it'll weigh 90 to 100 pounds.
Oh, wow.
It's getting where it's hard for me to do it.
Yeah, so she just couldn't do it anymore.
No, you can't do it. When you get to where you can't lift 100 pounds, you can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get people to help you because most people are afraid of bees. You know?
Well, now, did she keep them next to the garden like you're doing right now, or did she have them off in a field somewhere?
No, she had them pretty close to the garden.
Okay.
She said they had a fairly large apple orchard, so that they had a lot of apple blossom honey.
Oh, wow. Oh, I bet that tasted good.
It was delicious. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she had a lot of skill. You know, in the old ways, you know, making a living from nothing practically.
Yeah.
But now she didn't have these type of bees. Back in her days, they were the wild European bees that were brought here when the settlers first came over.
Okay.
And they would just find a beehive out in the woods, a tree with a hive in it.
Yeah.
And they'd cut the tree down, and they'd take the queen and all the bees out and put them in a hive.
Oh, wow. So she was a brave woman.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she was, she loved them. I remember my grandmother talking about how much she loved bees.
How many acres did they have? They have a big farm?
41 acres.
41 acres. So her bees had a wide range.
Yeah. And most of it was forest. There was about maybe 15, 20 acres in pasture. About half of it was woods.
Yeah.
A little over half.
Wow.
And I guess it just, you might say, runs in my blood. Yeah. And these bees are called carnelians, and they're from the cold portion of Europe, and they're extremely docile bees, the most docile bees I've ever worked with. I can go in there and take the hive apart with no equipment on whatsoever.
Yeah, because you're not, if you notice, he's not wearing anything right now. I'm not either. I'm standing a little bit further away.
They're the most docile bees. It's unbelievable how docile they are.
Yeah, they don't even care.
They'll land on me and crawl around on me. They're just wonderful bees.
And here we are out in the garden. Now you can see they've already dug up 2 rows, and we've got one right there that needs to be dug up. So there'll be plenty of potatoes in that. But I just wanted to kind of show you what's going on. You can see that this is the last of their beans. Mom's just kind of letting them dry. She might get some seeds off of them and then go ahead and pull them up. But you can see the corn is gone, and most of their tomatoes are gone. They really produce quite a bit, like I showed you inside, and they just kind of got into season. You can see some of the ones that are left, you know, they're just kind of wilting down, and they're getting ready to go dormant and die off. So when they get the last of these tomatoes off, they'll go ahead and pull these up and just kind of clean the garden up a little bit in here. Now they do have a couple of watermelons, so we'll have to see how those taste. And just look at all the butterflies that are on these flowers. Aren't they gorgeous? So Mom and Dad always put out quite a few wildflowers, especially for the bees. And they'll just let these flowers go until, you know, they go dormant, probably late fall, early winter. But for now, they're providing plenty of food for these butterflies and for their bees. Now, before we get to starting on the potatoes, I just kind of wanted you to talk about some of the stories that you had, because last time we talked about you growing up in North Georgia, there was a lot of my subscribers that really enjoyed hearing that, and they actually wanted to hear more. So, Dad, you grew up in the mountains of northern Georgia, at Clayton specifically.
Yeah.
And through the 50s, the 60s, and then some of the 70s,
Yeah,
right?
early 70s.
Okay. And then by what, you joined the military?
In 1970.
1970, okay. So mostly the 50s and 60s, you was growing up in the North Georgia. And you kind of had what we now call a multi-generational household, right? Because your granny and grandpa lived with you and mom and your siblings. And
definitely.
So you said before you remembered Granny putting in a garden, right? Every year?
Yeah.
Now, did she put in like a really big garden, or was it just kind of like a vegetable
No,
plot?
it was pretty large.
Do you remember some of the things she put in it?
Oh, corn, a lot of potatoes.
Yeah.
we had a root cellar dug out underneath the house, and I lost count of the wheelbarrows full of dirt we took out to make the cellar under the house.
Yeah.
But yeah, she would fill that full of potatoes, squash, just all kind of vegetables that would keep in the cool.
Yeah.
And they'd put apples down there. That was a time when everybody had to work hard, can stuff, and try to preserve stuff.
Yeah.
There in the mountains, there wasn't any jobs to speak of.
Yeah.
And it was all, you just lived off the farm.
Yeah.
We had a milk cow. We had bees. I had a huge garden. We supplemented with a lot with wild game.
Yeah.
And she could make wild game taste like beefsteak. I mean, she was a good cook with the wild game,
Now, speaking of cooking, and I have a few more questions about the garden too, but I want everyone to hear this because this kind of blew my mind a little bit. So, she started out cooking, you said, in a fireplace.
Yeah.
Right? And then, now how long did she use a fireplace for? Do you remember her doing that, or was that before you were born?
No, it was, I was a little thing, probably in the late 50s.
Yeah.
I remember seeing her cook over an open fireplace.
Now, would she have the big pot and swing it out?
Oh yeah, she had the big iron bar that swung in and out. You know, she could put her food over the fire, and she'd rake coals out to the edge.
Yeah.
And set a Dutch oven in it to bake in.
Wow.
It was really neat how she cooked. It was.
I bet that tasted good too.
Oh, delicious. It was probably the early to mid 60s before she got an electric range.
What? But now, before you said did she upgrade to a wood stove?
Yeah.
First.
Yeah.
Now, do you remember did she buy it new? Did she get it used? Did someone give it to her?
I'm almost certain it was used. I don't really remember, but I'm almost certain it was used. You know, we never had a whole bunch of money.
Yeah.
Living off the land, you know, the farm, you just don't have a whole bunch of money.
Now, here's, I'm kind of wondering, when she went to the electric range, did she like it? Or did she say she wished she had her wood stove back?
Now, in the summer, she loved it.
Oh, okay.
That wood cook stove in the summer would absolutely kill you.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Oh man. Oh yeah. I can imagine.
She would have all the windows in the kitchen open, all the doors open. You know.
Wow. Man. So that was a pretty big to do.
But now she would do most of her cooking in the early morning.
Yeah.
You know, in the afternoon when it got up 80, 90 degrees, you didn't want that.
She'd be done.
Yeah, you didn't want that wood cook stove running in the afternoon.
So would she cook all her meals? Like, are you saying that she cooked breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Or did she do it different where she cooked one big meal, but then you guys ate it throughout the day?
Both.
Okay.
Both. At times she would cook dinner before the fire. She'd cook breakfast first.
Yeah.
And then she would cook lunch.
Yeah.
before the stove cooled down completely.
Okay.
You know, you just had to work with what you had. It was challenging.
Yeah. Now, as for the garden, did she do multiple seasons, like spring, summer, and fall, or did she just do one big summer garden?
No, she in the fall she would always plant a big bed of greens.
Oh, okay.
So we'd have greens. You know, they'll take a pretty hard freeze and still thrive.
Yeah, and probably Georgia, you probably didn't get too cold too soon.
No.
So you're probably able to like extend the growing season.
Now we were in the North Georgia mountains. We were at a higher altitude than southern Georgia.
Yeah.
You know, we got a little colder than the rest of Georgia.
Yeah.
Because we were at like 2,000 to 3,000 feet.
Now she canned a lot too, didn't she?
Oh my gosh, yes. On top of the bank of the root cellar,
Yeah.
you should have canned food all the way around, just lined up. Just more than dozens. I mean, she'd have like 200 or 300 cans of canned food.
Oh wow! Now did she did that inside also, right? She didn't have like a separate canning kitchen or anything like that. Okay. Now, did she actually can all that on the wood stove, or did she wait until she got the electric range?
No, it was both.
So she did it on a wood stove.
Yeah.
I wish, I'd give anything if like I could go back and see her cooking on that stove.
Those are fun.
And just eat a meal off of it.
Those are fond memories.
Do you remember any, like what kinds of meals that she made?
Well, it's just plain food. I mean, just vegetables, a lot of wild game, and now we slaughtered a pig every year. Every spring, you know, Grandpa would buy a young pig. Yeah. And we'd feed it scraps and stuff all summer long. Then in the fall, we'd butcher it.
Yeah. Now, did you churn, like, does she churn butter and stuff like that?
Oh, definitely.
So she was making everything almost from scratch.
I can still picture her sitting there churning butter.
Would she be sitting on the porch?
Oh, yeah. She'd sit on the porch. I wish I still had that churn jar. And, you know, the old, what do they call it, a ladle. You know, she had it her hand had it just so slick, you know.
Yeah. Wow. So it sounds to me like she pretty much worked as soon as she got out of the bed all the way until she got in the bed.
Exactly. We had you had to stay busy on the farm. If you were going to live well, you had to stay busy.
But I mean, but you had such a wide variety that you were able to grow.
Oh, yeah.
Which, you know, and with your apple trees and stuff like that, I mean, and I'm sure that you went foraging.
Oh, yeah.
Did Granny ever teach you, like, how to go in the forest and get things?
We picked blackberries. That was the whole family would go out and hit the blackberry patches. Yeah. And she'd can we'd have blackberry cobblers in January, you know, and that really hit the spot. Yeah. Now, did she ever take you like mushroom foraging or anything like that? I don't remember her fooling with mushrooms. But now she knew a lot of medicines. I remember her making me drink, when I had stomach trouble, she'd make me drink something called yellow root. Yeah. Awful tasting stuff, but it made your stomach feel better.
I wonder where she got that from. And did she pick it up in the mountains?
Oh, yeah. It growed, I remember her saying it growed along creek banks. Now, there was a one that, water hemlock, looked a lot like yellow root. But water hemlock's a deadly poison. Yeah, but she knew. Yeah, she knew the difference. And now people have gotten killed. Yeah. Because they didn't know the difference. Wow. Water hemlock, there's no antidote. It'll kill you. Yeah.
Now, did she make any other medicines
that
you
knew
of?
Yeah. She had, now my grandpa, bless his heart, he started in the 30s during the Depression, started making moonshine. And she would make a wonderful cough syrup out of her honey and a little bit of moonshine, and there were several other herbs she put in it. Yeah. And just a wonderful cough syrup. I wish they'd had the recording equipment that they have now back then.
Oh my gosh,
Because she would take me into the woods and she'd say, now honey, this is good for so-and-so.
Yeah.
This is what this, she'd name the plant. She'd say, this is good for so-and-so. You know, I can't remember any of it now.
Yeah.
But I wish I had recorded it.
Yeah. Man, that would have been great. Just watching her too on that wood stove.
Oh gosh,
I'd like to seen that.
She was a very timid, I guess you would say, today she would be called an introvert, you know.
Yeah.
She's real quiet and soft-spoken.
Yeah.
Very timid, wouldn't hurt nobody's feelings for nothing, I mean.
Yeah. Now that's actually what I remember from her, because by the time I met her, she was pretty old. I mean, she wasn't cooking and doing stuff like that.
In her 80s when you met her.
Yeah, so she wasn't cooking, you know, she was pretty frail.
Yeah.
When I met her, but I do remember her being probably the sweetest little soul that I had ever met.
I don't remember ever seeing her angry.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
When I think back on it.
Yeah, because she had a hard life if you think about it.
Yeah.
You know.
And her husband made moonshine for 30 years.
Yeah.
And her such a docile Christian lady.
Yeah.
You know, that must have caused a lot of conflict in her mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but she never said nothing to him, never badgered him or nothing, you know.
Wow. Because, her dad was a preacher, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now you had a couple stories that I thought they would like to hear. One was, I think it was the first time her and her husband met. And then one the other time with a bull or something. There was something she got attacked or something in a field?
No, it was a wild hog.
Oh, that's even worse. Them things are mean.
Yeah, now this is, I remember her telling me about it when I was like 8 or 10 years old.
Yeah.
And she went to the spring to get a bucket full of water.
Yeah.
No running water back in, you know.
Yeah.
And the wild hog charged at her. Wild boar when she went to the spring.
Yeah.
And she started beating it with the bucket, dodging it and beating it, trying to get it off of her.
Yeah.
And she took off running home, got all the way home. And when she got in the house, you know, they was asking her, what happened to the bucket?
Yeah.
And she looked, and all she had was the handle. Yeah. She'd beat the hog so hard the bucket flew off, and she still had the handle. Yeah. She didn't even know she'd lost the bucket.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine. And then what was the other one? Wasn't she riding on a donkey or something like that?
No, it was a mule.
Okay.
That was the first time my grandpa ever saw her.
Now, do you remember what year this was?
Oh, goodness. That would have been about around 1930.
Okay.
1929, 1930.
Yeah.
Grandpa saw her riding down the road on a mule.
Yeah.
And he just said he just instantly fell in love.
Wow. Didn't she have her hair down or something?
Oh, gosh.
She was riding on that mule with her hair
Oh, it was
down?
way below her knees.
Wow.
Never cut her hair her entire life.
What? Well, I remember when I met her, she always had that little bun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think I ever actually got to see it down.
When she let it down, it would almost touch the floor.
Wow, that's pretty neat. So now, did he walk up to her while she was on that mule?
Well, he got her attention and waved and one thing and another.
Yeah.
And then he started going over to her parents' house, you know, and her daddy didn't like my grandpa at all. You know, he was a preacher.
Yeah.
And here's a liquor maker wanting to date his daughter.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, no, that didn't go over well at all.
What? But now, did she fall in love with him, and then did she get married anyway, despite her? I mean, did they ever bless the marriage? Or?
Yeah, no, he didn't. He didn't okay the marriage.
Wow.
It was probably several years after they got married before he kind of made peace with my grandpa. For her daddy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of marriage conflict. Now, did she have to run away and elope, or did they go ahead and have a church wedding?
No, they had a preacher marry him. I can't remember all the details of that. She told me about it, but she had a preacher marry him.
Yeah.
And, it was, and like I said, her dad didn't approve at all.
Yeah.
But now later on, they got along a whole lot better.
Yeah.
But I guess her daddy realized he was just going to have to accept it,
Yeah, especially when grandkids started coming in and.
Now we was talking about the medicine. One time I got into a big nest of they call them bald face hornets.
Yeah.
They're big black hornets. It was a huge nest, and I walked past the brush pile, and one come out and stung me on the side of the neck.
Yeah.
And I looked around, made me angry.
Yeah.
And I looked around, found me a big old stick, and I went over there and beat that nest all to pieces.
Now, how old were you?
Probably about 8 or 9.
Okay, so not old enough to know better.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Old enough to get angry, but not old enough to know how to channel that anger.
Yeah.
And but I'd have probably died if it hadn't have been for the herbal medicine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did she she have a salve?
Well, she went and talked to we had a neighbor, Estes Justice.
Yeah?
He had like a 500-acre farm next to us.
Yeah?
And she went and talked to him, and they went out in the woods and got a whole bunch of stuff. I can't tell you what it was.
Yeah.
But they made a poultice, and they put that all over me, all over them stings.
Yeah?
Now, Mama quit counting at 100.
Cool.
So I don't know. I had well over 100 stings.
Yeah.
And I probably weighed 70 pounds.
Yeah.
And that could have easily killed me.
Oh, yeah.
But with just in a day or two, the next day I was feeling better.
Wow.
And they made one for me to drink too.
Yeah.
They put the poultice on me, and I had something I had to drink.
So
exactly.
that's pretty cool. So.
And now back in her time, you have to remember too, everything was either canned, pickled, or dried.
Yeah.
We didn't have no freezer.
Yeah.
We had a spring house. Now we'd keep the milk and stuff in the spring house.
Yeah.
To keep it cool.
Do you remember any particular thing that she would fix in that wood stove?
Oh gosh.
Or in the fireplace?
Well, in the fireplace, yeah, she would make a lot of kind of like stews.
Yeah.
She'd have maybe 3 or 4 rabbits in a big kettle.
Oh, wow.
She'd clean the rabbits and put them in the kettle.
Yeah.
And she'd mix all kind of vegetables in with them, make a stew.
Yeah. Wow. And she probably had biscuits and stuff like that to go with it.
Oh, gosh, those biscuits were out of this world.
Yeah. Oh, man, it's making my mouth water just thinking.
Oh, she was a cook, boy, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, did you ever meet her mother? Now, this was Grandma Parker that had the bees. Did you get to meet her?
Yeah.
Okay, so she lived.
I was in the room when she passed away.
Oh, now do you remember how old you were?
She was early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 91, 92.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were just real little? Or?
Yeah, I was real little. I was maybe, I remember it well, so I imagine I was maybe 8 or 10. And I remember, though, her, just before she took her last breath, she looked up toward the corner of the room and said, "I'm coming, honey."
Oh, was she? So she was.
I guess she saw her husband.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, so and then she passed away right after she said that.
Yeah.
Now, was this in your house, or did you go to visit her?
No, I was visiting her.
Now, was this in her house, or was she in a hospital at that time, or?
No, she was. She was in her house.
Yeah.
She was in bed, and I forget who all was there. I know my Granny Kilby and Grandpa Kilby was there, and my mother was there. But I'll never forget that, her looking up toward the corner of the room and say, "I'm coming, honey."
Wow, that's kind of gives you chills.
Oh, it did. Oh, it did. It gave me chills big time.
Yeah.
I was looking, real.
Yeah.
What's up there?
Yeah.
But only she could see it.
Yeah, wow, that's something else. Is there anything else that you'd like to say about growing up with Granny?
I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah.
If I could have lived in a mansion with millions of dollars, I wouldn't trade it for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her reputation was just so big in the area that you know, I've heard many people say that if anybody ever harms Granny Kilby, there'll be a line of 100 people waiting to skin them.
Yeah. So it sounds like the whole valley just kind of protected this woman.
Oh, they loved her. Yeah.
Wow.
She was so giving.
I started to ask you, did she do a lot of charity
gosh, she was
and stuff like that?
Just local, you know.
Yeah.
She was just so giving. I think I told you about the guy that knocked on the door and said he hadn't eaten in 3 days.
Yeah. And was he kind of like what you would have used to call a hobo?
Yeah,
at that time,
I guess you'd
like
say, yeah. But she went in the kitchen, and we had a few biscuits left over from breakfast.
Yeah.
She put them biscuits in a little bag, and she looked in her purse. She had $6.
Yeah.
And she gave him that bag of biscuits and $3.
Yeah.
She said, I wish I could give you more, but that's all I got. And
yeah.
He said, oh my gosh, this is plenty, thank you. You know, he was just overjoyed.
Yeah. Did she like sew and embroider or crochet or do anything like that?
Sewing, I mean, you had to.
Yeah.
You know, we couldn't run to the store and buy new jeans every time we got a rip.
Yeah.
We just didn't have the money.
Now, did she make any clothing, or did she just mainly do repairs and stuff like that?
I remember she made some what you call flour sack dresses.
Yeah.
For Jeanette and Geraldine, her girls.
Yeah.
She'd make. They'd get the flour and grain in big bags, and the manufacturers would make them flowery and pretty.
Yeah.
Because they knew a lot of people made flour sack dresses.
I wish they'd do that now. But yeah, I wish I would buy flour sacks like that. So I hope that you guys enjoyed these little memories that we have of Granny and just kind of Dad growing up in North Georgia. And, you know, I'm sure you have a lot more, so we'll probably, we can do more videos like this too if you guys want to hear more. But we're going to go ahead and get started on these potatoes. So let me just show you a little bit of how Dad digs them up and pulls them up out of the ground. And we'll see what's underneath that dirt. If that table's any indication in there, I'd say that last row is going to be just as good. All right, so we are out here ready to get these potatoes up. Now, Dad, you said this is what Granny used to do.
Oh, yeah.
So she'd come out here and would she do this all by herself, or would you help her?
Yeah, we'd help, but a lot of times Grandpa would be making liquor, and she had to do a whole bunch of the gardening herself.
Oh, Lord.
Now, these are the Yukon Gold.
Wow, you're getting a lot of them, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can get quite a bit off of one plant.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
You can see we've already got quite a few already, and we just went, what, a couple inches into the row?
Yeah.
Now, is this whole row Yukon Gold right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there's some big ones.
Oh, those are nice. So I hope you really enjoyed that video. I know it was a little bit different because we didn't cook But I hope that you enjoyed those memories of Granny Kilby and growing up in northern Georgia and just seeing how many potatoes you can get out of your garden. And can't wait to try them myself because I just know they're going to be really, really good. So thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.
And if you like historical cooking and unusual cookbooks, here's 2 more videos you might enjoy. And make sure to like and subscribe for more foodie adventures.